Welcome to Breaking Barriers. You know your path. We know the obstacles, and we can teach you how to tear them down. And now your host, CEO and founder of Adapting Social, John Vigero.
While we kick this off, though, I have to say I'm so insanely proud of you in your journey of creating content. Because when I think back when you were on my podcast in 2018 or like end of 2017-ish, it was you and Sal came on at my Asbury office.
Yes.
You were so different in front of a camera. And you've gotten so fucking awesome behind it. When you're doing great. But for people out there, it's Roberto. So, but what would you say? Because so many entrepreneurs that are watching this have an issue with getting in front of a camera. What helped you continue to get more comfortable and get better?
So I feel like I'm still not comfortable at all.
Okay. So we still ain't there.
Camera, if I'm only just talking to it.
Got it.
If I'm just sitting there talking to a camera, I just freeze up. Like I don't feel comfortable at all.
Okay.
But when I'm doing makeup and doing something that I'm comfortable doing,
it's different.
Yes, I can totally do that. Where like Sal can talk to himself and a camera all day.
Right.
I'm like polar opposite where like I'd rather be doing something and talking about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So now I think I'm getting more like the flow.
You're
of
getting there.
Just on camera. I still don't love it.
Right.
But I think that it's just something necessary in the industry at this point where I am in my career and not wanting to take as many clients and going more focus
this route.
Yeah.
So for people out there that do not know you, right? Mm-hmm. Lauren D'Amelio Ventre, right? Are you hyphen or you just Ventre?
No, just Ventre.
Okay.
Sal probably would have been fine with the D'Amelio Ventre.
Yeah.
But
you're like, I'm not even gonna play that game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
so
put it right.
You saved them on that one, right? Because that's typically a battle with some people.
I know.
But so the one thing that I want to say, I'm gonna have you go in a little bit deeper. But the one thing I can say though is that so if somebody's watching this, and just so you know, when you're going in on something, bam, if you want to look at go in, that's your rant cam.
Okay.
If you have to, but normally we're just gonna communicate like this. But for people out there who do not know Lauren, I think one of the things that impresses me the most about what I've seen just over the time that I've known you, right, is you are such a hard worker, right? And most people who don't know who you are, right, that are just like, oh, Lauren's this beautiful girl, she's always on camera, she's always on Instagram, blah, 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 celebrity, whatever. I don't think they realize how fucking hard you actually grind. Right. And so, because obviously when I first met you with Sal and stuff, obviously you and Sal are like one of our couple best friends, right? And so, when I met you from that, the honeys and the babes, going to Paris. But it's like, when we first met, like I didn't know your business obviously at the time, but I didn't like seeing on social media and stuff, like I was like, oh, okay, cool, like whatever. But it wasn't like, I didn't realize how hard you grind until I started to like know you more and obviously, whatever else and started working together. But that's the one thing that I think that people don't get. When they're getting ready to go into like the beauty industry or whatever they're doing, so many people see people like you, right? And they think, because where your success is right now, that like, oh, like look, she's so lucky, like, look at, what she's doing, it looks effortless.
Comes so easy.
Right, but they don't know the journey. We're talking Patterson, baby. Patterson, the rough streets. The hood. No, I was kidding. So talk to people about that, because I think that's the one thing I've been super excited. It's been tough to get Lauren's on the podcast, right, Rob? This hasn't been an easy feat. We've been trying for months and months and months, but we're here. So for the people out there, how did you get started in the makeup industry?
So when
talk about those roots.
Right. So when I moved to Kinnelon, I went to a whole new school and I was in like middle school when I went to like public school there.
Okay.
And so going into 6th grade, super dyslexic, ADHD, like totally different than, like I was going in there wearing like baby fat and like my hair was an afro and like totally different from Kinnelon. Right?
Wait,
and
so for the podcast, when we edit this up, can we get a afro picture, a fro?
No.
We're going to find a fro, guys. We're going to put it on after.
No.
Sorry, continue.
I have really, really curly hair, like super curly, still very curly. I just always flat iron it.
Right.
But my mom like had no clue how to handle that kind of hair. And I used to have just like a pom-pom on top of my head half the time. But so going into a new school, being in small classroom settings, being more of a tomboy, I really didn't fit in. Like I really didn't have any friends. It was really hard for me to start fitting in. I had no interest in school at all. I just wasn't that like, even in like middle school, I just didn't love Middle school. Yeah,
right.
Middle school.
So you were and I'm the same way. You weren't a great student.
Right.
Because you didn't care.
Right. And even my 6th grade Wilson teacher, which anyone out there that doesn't know, for dyslexia, a lot of people go into like Wilson programs and they teach you how to read, right? They're supposed to be teaching you.
Right.
And my teacher goes, "You're the most dyslexic person I've ever met. Basically, there's no hope for you," kind of thing.
Right, wow.
And as like such a young person, hearing that, it kind of fully discourages you from even trying.
Right.
And now that's just wouldn't be the case anywhere because like it just wouldn't happen. I don't even remember her name, but she just was like the worst.
Yeah.
But so when I was, the only books that I would read would be like makeup books. My parents would get me, and my mom used to do her makeup every day, would have like Dolly Mix blush on, which is like this really pink blush, and like I just always thought of my mom as this like beautiful, beautiful person, and I always looked up to.
She is. I love moms. I love Mom D'Amelio.
So sweet.
She's the best.
But so I always looked up to her. I think that is something that I really took from her, is just like she was always done. Like in the morning, she would get up and do her makeup.
What industry was she in?
She was a teacher.
Oh, she was a teacher. Okay,
Patterson teacher.
So you saw her get all done up,
Yep.
and you were like, just like, wow, I love that. Okay.
Yeah. So she would always have her like she wasn't like dripping in designer, but like she would always have like her hair and makeup.
She'd be put together.
Right.
Yeah.
She was a public school teacher in Patterson at School 8. My dad had an auto body shop in Patterson. Then has worked for Audi as a parts manager for the longest time. So we grew up very blue collar.
Okay.
And so I just my parents like gave me what we like had, right? It wasn't like
did the best they could.
Right. We weren't in like the gated communities of Kinnelon. We were like on the outskirts. Like so that also didn't help moving into a new town because you're not like where like all the popular kids are.
And what age were you when you moved there? You were 6th grade, you said?
So 6th grade to public school.
That's when I moved too.
Yeah.
Yeah, down the shore.
It's
so tough.
It's different, especially
it's so
at that
tough.
age.
Yeah.
So I think that's when like my love for beauty really started happening. I met my one best friend, Nicolette, who is still one of my best friends like in life. Her mom owned a hair salon, so we met on the bus going to school. And
the photographer, Nicolette?
Yep.
Oh, get out of here. Okay,
Nicolette
cool.
Cerzosa. So we met, and her mom owned a hair salon.
Okay.
So between looking up to my mom, being in the hair salon like with Nikki, that's really where my passion for it started to grow. And like, I like this route. I feel like I fit in here.
Yeah.
I was very artsy. Me and her were always into like art classes and fashion. And we even like put together an entire fashion show where we sewed everything together. So we were always really good with our hands.
Yeah.
So that's really where I kind of, at that time, being so young, is really where like I knew that was the direction that I wanted to go in. And by the time I was in 8th grade, I was really making friends. I was doing their makeup. I felt pretty. I was getting attention because I would do my makeup.
Right.
And it just kind of
the milkshake brought all the boys to the yard.
Snowballed.
In Kinnelon.
No.
The makeup brought all the boys to the yard.
Snowball into like me then going to cosmetology school in high school. I was doing VOTech program for half the day. The second 2 years, I actually graduated there prior, like right before we graduated high school. So I had my full cosmetology license and graduated high school and then went on to go to college. But at that time, then I was working at Mac in a salon, interning and going to college. I didn't have like a college, I didn't have a college experience. I was literally working all the time. And that's when like and I think just seeing my dad working, he would be out of the house at 5 a.m., get home at like 7 p.m. and like then go work on bills and stuff till like 8 or 9. So I think that's where between my mom and my dad, like just my passion for working and like love of beauty really came in. So yeah, that's really cool. How it all started.
So 8th grade was like the real starting point. That was the building
like
of
where I'm like
D'Amelio.
doing someone's makeup.
Totally, right. That's really crazy. So like you found your passion so damn young. That's really cool. And you know, and that's why like a lot of times when people see successful people, they never know what's going on behind the scenes and where they started, right? So do you have pictures of yourself like in 8th grade and 9th grade, like doing makeup and shit?
I probably could look back.
Like that'd be so cool. Like
I could probably look back and find even like from freshman year, like of me sitting in the bathroom doing like the girls' makeup. Yeah.
See, that's
There's
so
definitely
sick.
some from then. Even cosmetology school, like we were 15.
Right.
Like we weren't even driving yet, and I was working at salons. Like my first salon that I ever worked at, like was walking distance from my house, and I would walk there. I remember like walking over a bridge over the highway to get to the salon that I would work at.
Right.
And I mean, just like that's when I started. I even was taking makeup clients at that time because I'm in cosmetology school, and I could take clients at that time, and I was assisting as like a hairstylist.
Yeah.
So I did work in salons for years, and I did extensions, anything that you could think of, men's cuts, color. So I did all of that. Like I can do a lot with hair.
Right.
I am fully licensed, which is great.
Right.
But I was able to do that at such a young age and find what I really loved because I was so discouraged from other things.
Right.
So I think that a lot of people think of any kind of learning disability as a bad thing, but I think that it makes us better. Like you're also ADHD.
Totally, yeah. Dyslexic.
Yeah, so it's just like we are great at so many other things, and I feel like when we grew up, it was like this bad thing.
Totally. It was like we were looked at like there was something like you're an idiot or something's wrong with you.
Right. And I think that we just have higher IQ.
Yeah.
And it is a known fact that people do who are dyslexic and ADHD.
They're also good entrepreneurs.
Very good entrepreneurs, very good at reading people.
Right.
So I
can't read books but read people.
Yeah. We don't need to read books. We pay people to read.
Screw those people. Right.
We don't read emails. Fuck these text messages. Oh,
the one thing though that most people don't realize, I think, and that's why I love so much about you, is that number one, you know, your story is awesome. Like if most of the people who follow you actually knew, like your actual journey, crossing over that bridge to get to where you had to go, you know, doing all the things you were doing, didn't go to college, you know, and built your own success. Oh, you did. Okay, you did. So you completed college.
I did. I have my
Where'd you go?
associates at Berkeley.
Okay, cool.
I went for interior design.
Bam. Okay. That's why the Spring Lake crib was dope.
Wait till you see the Point.
Oh, thank you so much. Nice. And I think at the end of the day, it's like that right there. Nobody knows that. So anyway, going back to that, I had a teacher too, who in 8th grade, I got my third F. And they were like, you know, she pulled me aside and essentially was like, here's a vocational school packet. And I'm like, what's this for? And she's like, you're not really college material. And I remember thinking at that time, like you said earlier, I'm like, damn, I'm a fucking idiot. Like, it's like, 'cause at that point in time, especially like you said, that era, in the early 2000s, if you were in, like I was in remedial classes. Right. Like I was in, like when we took, like I didn't have to take the SATs, I didn't have to do any of those things, or if we did, I was in a classroom with a small group of people. Same. Yeah. So like, but I always felt so embarrassed by that stuff. Right. You know, it was embarrassing moments.
Kids were mean back then.
Totally.
There were like, this whole like where you can't be a bully now, which is great kind of thing, but sometimes
put some tough skin on your head, right?
Yeah, but I think that it was hard to be that way then, you know, and I feel like still it probably is in a way.
It is, of course, and I think no matter what, like back to your point, it's you feel so self-conscious at that time because you're like, well, okay, everyone's seeing me leave the classroom to go to take a test in this other class, or there's an aide in the room where we're taking tests, and they come up to John, like, John, you want this? I'm like, just give me the fucking answers. With my aide, Miss Colin, who's in the class with all of us, I would always be like, hey, you know, what's the thing? But anyway, so my point though is that a lot of people like don't realize, but most of the most successful people like in the world have these things: dyslexia, ADHD. Like Elon Musk has Asperger's. He's technically on the spectrum of autism. So, you know, it wasn't as known, like that wasn't as popularized back then as now. But I think it's important for people to know that, right, when it comes to your journey.
And I think it also, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm going to speak for you, but it made us have to prove ourselves.
Totally.
And it made us have to always feel like we have to do better. We're going to do better to prove other people wrong.
You know, the chip on our shoulders. I had a fucking chip. Yeah. I had a chip because I was like, oh, you know, I'm going to prove I could be, you know, I can do whatever. And anyway, so moving along though. So, okay, now we're at a point where, so, you know, you graduate college. Yep. Right? And get your associates. Yep. What was the difference? So for people watching, they're like, damn, how did Lauren go from, you know, just doing makeup in high school bathrooms and whatever to like now working with stars of the Real Housewives in New Jersey or MTV or, you know, celebrities and things like that. How did you, like, what would you, like, give us a little bit of that journey, you know?
So early on in my career, I was like about 17, 18. I was working with a company, Posh, and I was doing makeup for them, Posh Models.
Yep.
And they had a store. And,
Were you also modeling, or you just doing makeup?
At first, I was only doing the makeup, and then they threw me in
They're
for something.
You're getting in here.
Which was fun at the time. You're young, you're going to clubs, you're doing this,
Having
you're doing
fun,
that.
Of
Yeah,
course.
you're like
good memories.
It's a great time, but. I started working there, like with them doing makeup for their shoots because they had a boutique in Montville.
Right.
So
they're up there.
They were. It's not there anymore.
Okay.
But I believe Posh Models is still they're still a thing. It's more atmosphere models.
Yeah. We actually so for my company Commodi, we hired.
Yes.
We hired them.
Yes. Yeah. And they're great. They're fun.
Cool.
So So I was working with them. Those were because I always encourage people reach out to boutiques nearby.
Yep.
Just I never said no to any opportunities. Like if someone was like, "You're not getting paid for this, and you have to drive 3 hours away, but it's a good opportunity," I would never say no. There's no.
We'll get into this. I like this topic.
Yes, I think especially in my late teens, early 20s. The first maybe 5 to 7 years of my career, there was never a time that I said no to anything. I remember I was in Long Island for a wedding one day, and I got a call saying, "Hey, we need someone to do makeup in Brooklyn at 2 a.m.
Right.
Can you come do it?" I'm like, yeah, I'll come back there and do makeup, and then I'll shoot back to my bride in Long Island. There was never a no.
Right.
But so
that's why Sal ended up with her. He got the lucky yes. You see this, Sal? Now I know. She never said no. I'm just kidding. I'm just messing.
So there was a fashion show charity event for raising money for brain tumors, and Kathy Wakili, who was on The Housewives at that time, her daughter Victoria had brain tumors her whole life, I believe 2 or 3 at that time. And I didn't know at the time when I was doing the makeup. I did, I think, 15 models free. Just went there it was a Posh fashion show.
Right.
I did the makeup for it, and then Kathy comes backstage and was like, "Oh my God, are you the makeup artist?" And I said, "Yes." She's like, "I love the makeup. I would love for you to do mine." So if I would have said no to that opportunity where I'm doing 15 people for free, I would have never gotten my first housewife.
Love
And
it.
I was working on the New Jersey Housewives at such a young age. I was working with Jerseylicious at such a young age. I was working on the Mob Wives at such a young age. And it's all because I never said no to opportunities.
Right.
And it was all word of mouth. It was because I think also being a really good person and genuinely caring and being a good person makes a huge difference in this industry. Because if you can't get along with the person that you're working with, or you can't make them feel special, or you go and talk crap about them after you do them, you're not leaving a good taste in their mouth. They're not going to refer
Not a good
to
impression.
people. And I was able to leave such a good impression on my clients at such a young age that they all referred me, and it really helped grow my business. But I worked every single day of my 20s, no days off, no birthdays, no holidays. I worked my butt off. There was no sleep. I even was working in nightclubs at one point doing bottle service.
Wow.
So I was working round the clock every day.
Just making as much money as you could, getting out there.
Grinding.
Right. Building your contacts.
Yep.
So I want to pause for a second there, because I think it's such an important thing for anybody watching this right now. So I similarly, when I was starting adapting, same concept, right? Because I'm picking up on similar traits that I've heard of other entrepreneurs too, that weren't nothing was below them.
Right.
Right? If something's for free, I'm still going to do it.
Right.
It's a learning experience, an opportunity to meet people. We live in a world now where these younger generations of kids, they come out of college or whatever, they want $1 gazillion a year.
Right.
They don't want to do anything for free.
Right.
And I think there's so much to learn from what you just said about your journey. And I can resonate, because that was my journey too. In the beginning, nobody knew me. I was 17 years old. I know, in a friggin' tight suit that didn't even fit me, right? And similar to you, it's if you don't have those opportunities, you don't meet people.
Right.
And I'm a big believer in it's not about who you know, it's about who you go and take the time to meet.
Right.
Right. So you dedicated your personal time, 2 a.m., this and that. And by the way, knowing Lauren now for 5, 6, 7, I don't even know how long we've known each other, a long time.
Yeah.
Every time, because we both, one thing I love about us as a couple, our couples that we have, the babes and the honeys, is that we all work extremely hard, and then we play hard, right? We have a good time.
Yeah.
And any time we went out, I would feel bad, because I turned Lauren up, that's what I do, right? And so we'd go out, I get you and, Sal and everybody, I'm a party amper.
Yeah.
And we'd be there, and I remember the first time ever where we all were like feeling real good. We were what we were doing, and we got back to your guys' house, about to hit the hot tub, and you're like, I got to be up at 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. And I'm like, and you're like, I'm going to New York. I'm like, wait, what? And it was like a Saturday.
Yeah.
On Sunday morning, like, I got to go up super early. So I think the thing is about you too is that like that's what I'm saying. Like people don't realize this about you, but you're such a hard worker. Yeah. And I'm so, again, like you're such a badass. But the thing is like being us, like and being you, you're not going to think that about yourself because it's who you are. No. It's your normal. You're grinding. You're doing you. It's all you've ever known. But people don't work as hard as you do. That's why they don't ever amount to what you've amounted to. And I think, going back to it, you have to start for free. Right. And I love that you said that because and honestly, now this is like one of my favorite podcasts because we haven't gotten to this topic organically, right? Like you said it, like I'm going to this place, I'm doing my thing. Like people don't do that. No. And
it's I don't think not a thing anymore.
I don't think that anybody watching, when your audience listens to this, they're gonna be like, Lauren did that for free. Like it's so Lauren. Much. It's Lauren. So she wouldn't do that. Like there's no way Lauren would do that. Mm-hmm. But you're gonna open up so many people's minds and inspire them because when you're not anybody, you have to prove yourself first. Yeah. And you did that by doing that. So love that. I'm so grateful you brought that up because again, so many people don't do that shit.
No. Even like the first person that I worked for, one of the salons, there was like a bridal team, and at the time I was like 17 or 18, young, and this was going back 15 years now, almost. Yeah. When I started in the bridal industry. Yeah. As an assistant, as doing like the bridesmaids, I think I was getting like 25 a person. Wow. Yeah, like so low, and I was doing like 13 people. Right. And like I would get in the car like cross-eyed and just exhausted. Yeah. And like we would hustle for like maybe $200-300 that day after doing 13 faces, and now you make that off of one person when you start. Right. Because I've taught everyone to do that. Learn from me. But it was such a different time too. Like it just started happening, going to people's houses. It was never that way. People used to go to the salons to get done for their weddings, or they would do it themselves.
Yeah, I remember that. It's such a big shift.
Yeah, huge shift. Yeah. And I think that I had a taste of that, and I knew that was one of my first tastes of being in the wedding industry. Mm-hmm. I was also working at Mac Retail. Yeah. I met one of my biggest mentors was this woman, Fatima. She's still a close friend of mine, but she was one of my biggest mentors. She came in, she was a makeup artist also, and she was like, she came to me, wanted me to do her makeup. Right. We talked, and she was like, why are you working retail? Right. I'm like, well, it's a paycheck, like, what am I gonna do? And she's like, come meet me for dinner. So she's like, this is what you need to do. Here are the contracts. Change this. Talk to this lawyer, get your LLC, do this, do that. And like, it just...
Shout out to Fatima. Yeah, is that Fatima?
Yep. She just shifted so much in my life. Right. In a business standpoint. Yeah. Like, especially, I might have been 20 when I met Fatima. So that was another big career thing, right? So when I met her, I started thinking about makeup not only as makeup and like, okay, making a paycheck, and I thought of it more as like, this is a business, and like I'm making it a business. Like, this is what it's becoming, and this is what I'm gonna do, and really just turned some wheels in my head and got me starting to think of it more of like a business, and we can make a ton of money, and I was making a ton of money at that time for my age. Right. College kids were in debt, broke, and I had thousands of dollars cash under my mattress. Right. And like when my parents would be like, oh, we need to go get cash for vacation, I'd be like, I have cash. Here. And like I think it changed their mind about being in the beauty industry, because they pushed me so hard to do college, go to college, get a degree in something, which was great. I'm sure if I went into that career path as an interior designer, I probably would have done pretty well. Also,
you would have dominated anything.
But I loved makeup, right? Yeah. And it's always going with your passion. So it's not a bad thing that I have this degree and I can do these things, because now me and Sal flip homes, and even with our own homes,
that helps.
Like it does really help for me to have that design aspect and being able to read plans and doing those types of things. Right. So I think everything does happen for a reason. I think you meet everyone in your life for a reason. I was actually thinking about it the other day, like how different my life would be like if me and Sal weren't together, because I wouldn't know this whole world, down here.
Right.
There's so many things that would be different.
You'd be up north still.
Right.
Right.
And who knows, maybe I wouldn't be doing online education. Maybe I'd be in a whole different career path in my industry.
Yeah.
But
by the way, I think it's important to note, so Sal taught Lauren what the beach was. She never been to a beach before, never saw the sun. He showed her everything pretty much, this guy, right? I was You guys met at Seaside, right?
We met in Seaside. I missed my best friend's birthday.
Right.
I was 26 because I worked so much.
Yeah.
So I didn't get to go to her birthday early June. So I was able to come down on 4th of July weekend. I had a wedding at 4 a.m.
Thank God you missed that birthday.
And I was going, and I met her down the shore. I never had a shore house. I didn't have time. I didn't ever have like these frat shore houses that everyone has. So it was like a fun weekend that I had like one night here, and that's how me and Sal met, was down this way.
Bam.
Yeah.
Down the shore.
Down the shore.
And Lauren's one rule is never fall in love with Jersey Shore.
So many of my brides. So many of my brides say DJs. It's actually crazy.
DJs. Yeah. So going back to that, so when it comes to, I think a lot of people in business, right? Like I know for me, like prior to being with Jacqueline, right?
Right.
I was notoriously like in relationships younger, and then I was notoriously single because I was always working.
Right.
And it didn't work for any of my relationships because it was literally like, John's always here, John's always there. He's never, I can never see him.
Right.
So how can I date him, right? So it never worked out for me. How important do you think it is for you in having the right partner, meaning like your like spouse, in your success?
He really is the person that taught me, like, you can work as hard as you do, you can still make as much money as you do, you can make more money,
right?
But you need time to like spend with family. You need days
enjoy
off.
the fruits of your labor because you're working hard, enjoy it. Yeah.
So he really did teach me that aspect of like taking a step back and still working hard, and you can do both. So that was like a major thing for me when I met Sal.
Right.
But I think that if he had like a 9 to 5, like it
wouldn't work.
Probably wouldn't work, right?
No.
It just,
you need to go get her.
Yeah. He understands I have to work some weekends, he has to work some weekends.
Right.
We have to figure out how to make it work, especially growing a family. It's not as easy when you don't have, like when we didn't have kids, you could relate.
Yeah.
Once you have a kid thrown into the mix, like then you need sitters, and then you need to really plan your life more. And when it was just the two of us, we were like boom, 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 boom. All right,
different.
Have Thursday nights. So we make sure Thursday nights are our date night. We make sure Friday nights we have pizza night with the family. They come over. Sundays, obviously Sundays with the family.
Yeah.
So we love still keeping family first and keeping friends involved, and like that's what we do. Our date nights, we always would reach out to you guys.
Love that.
Tequila Johnny comes out.
Oh yeah.
Fun.
And listen, and especially now, which obviously you guys saw pop out that night, because fun. I don't go out and do that stuff as often as I used to, right? When I go out now, again, when you become a DILF like me, life changes.
Jackie's gonna smack him.
Fucking changes. You're not just going out partying every weekend anymore.
I can't protect you from that right now.
But Jack's like, that's it. She hears the pod. Boom. But again, at the end of the day, it changes dramatically, right? And I think the one thing though too, how has becoming a parent changed your how you grind and how you work and stuff? Like what's changed for you in since you've had little Sal?
So when I was pregnant with baby Sal, we got pregnant unknowingly.
Yes.
Unintentionally.
Shout out to Sal. He had plans.
We found out a month or two before our wedding that we were a month pregnant, and then by our wedding in Napa Valley, in a vineyard.
How you doing?
We were 3 months, and we were able to do the gender reveal.
Yes, which was fucking epic.
It was cool.
By the way.
It was so fun.
So epic.
And I'm happy that I can remember it because I obviously wasn't drinking.
Yes.
But I think from that moment, when I got pregnant and planning a wedding and being busy in business also, I was so overwhelmed. I was so stressed out. We weren't obviously planning it. We weren't even thinking about it yet.
Yeah.
So, you just have to go with it. You have to do it. You have to continue on. I like to work. I love to work, and I feel like if I'm not busy, I become like a crazy person.
Totally.
Like if I'm just sitting at home.
Don't you go nuts just like you can't be still?
No.
That's how I am too. Well, it's because you worked your whole life getting after it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. We had to.
You know the way our minds works, right? You always go.
Yeah. So I feel like I'm a better person and I'm a better partner. I'm a better mom.
Yeah.
When I am working.
Yeah.
Because I am able to like really separate everything and do things like I'm working now, I'm with my family now, I'm doing this. And that's why when people text me and like it's between the hours of 5 and 9 at night, I'm with my kids.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going off and answering anyone.
Totally.
You know, because I need to spend that time. But as far as like, I think another thing that happened right after we had baby Sal, we were in the hospital for a month.
Yes.
And at that time I was like, oh my God, like this is showing me that also I had vasa previa. So I had to go in and deliver a month early, but then a month before that also have baby, be in the hospital and then have baby Sal. So when I was in the hospital, I was like, how am I gonna make money if I can't be working on clients all the time?
You have to be home or something.
Right, if I hurt my wrist, if we have more kids, like how am I gonna work? How am I gonna make money? So in the hospital, me and Sam were actually talking about like doing an online class. Hey, we should start doing an online class. And this was kind of before Sam Tiny, Tiny. Tiny Thing.
I meant Sammy Joe.
No, Tiny Thing.
Got it.
She was in there with me and we're talking about doing an online business about education because we were doing in-person classes.
Right.
I'm like, let's just do an online Facebook community where we subscription base it and we're able to still make money even if we're not physically working all the time.
Right.
You can make money.
Let the videos make money for you.
Right.
Yeah.
Let the community make money for you.
Yeah.
So that was something that we came up with when I was in the hospital. Then a week after we had baby Sal, people started wearing masks in the hospital. Baby Sal was still in the NICU.
Thank goodness you just got through that. Yeah.
So COVID happens a week after we have the baby, or it's starting to come around.
Yeah.
I wound up doing one bride before we totally got locked down, but in lockdown, Jackie was actually my model for the online class. I think she was my first model.
Oh wow! I don't think she knows that.
Yeah,
maybe she does. Actually,
I think she was my first model for our Art of Enhancement in our circle.
Oh my goodness! I have the pictures of the day you said that. I was like, damn, baby, you're looking fine.
Yes.
I remember seeing that picture. She's like, look, Lauren just did the picture. I'm like, where are we going out after this?
In 2020, during
little steak dinner. How you doing?
Yeah. And I have a 2-month-old at home. Jackie comes over, me, Sam, and her in the kitchen.
Yep.
I think I'm masked up because we don't even know if we're supposed to be around each other at that time.
Yep.
And that's how it really started.
Wow.
And
for the record, though, don't forget that thought.
Yeah.
But I do think everyone should know. So again, back to you being a crazy, badass, fucking momtrepreneur now. But literally, I remember because obviously we're having twins, so we don't know if Jacqueline's going to have a C-section. Obviously, you had the vasoplasmin, whatever you had, right? That's serious, though, right? It was serious, right? It was a mesothelioma commercial, right? Whatever, vasoplasmelioma. How do you say it?
Vasa previa.
Yeah, can't say that.
No.
So, but you had that, and I never forget. Literally, like, especially with Valentina when she came out, like. People were like telling Jack, like, hey, like if you get, your first C-section, you got to chill. Like second one, you got to like be off your feet, whatever. You were like taking pictures like an hour after the surgery and after you had Val and stuff out there doing the thing, back to work instantly. And again, just I'm painting this picture because I want to make sure if somebody, I'm gonna look at the camera. If you're watching this podcast, okay, and you're in Lauren's database and her followership or a client in the past, you got to know how hard you work. And I think it's just so important that people know that because. Like I get flabbergasted even today. Like when I think about how quickly you went from having your first child with a serious, when you had the vasoplasmia, literally went right back into it. Like legitimately right back right away. Like and for the record, even though I know it was planned and stuff, like because obviously you had a C-section.
Right.
But it's like I was with Jacqueline when she was pushing the baby out, right? And. So you obviously had little Sal before us, but I always picture just like you see the movies where women are pushing people out, like they're sweating, they're in some cases, they're shitting because obviously they're pushing people out. It's not a pretty situation, right? And I remember Sal taking a picture of you right before everything, and she looked like this. She was like this.
I had a scheduled C-section. I'm like, bring me in, honey. I'm ready.
So I just think again, like, you know what? At the end of the day, there's that level of you're prepared, right? So you got yourself ready for that, like boom, get yourself made. But right after, you went right back into grinding and like just doing the things that you wanted to do. And what I'm so excited about for Val and little Sal is that as they grow up, they're going to see, no matter what you're doing, whether it's just virtual stuff or if you're in person, like how hard you work, and I think that's important because, I was having a conversation with this person on my podcast today earlier, right? The person out of the country, and this person sold one of their companies for 8 figures, right? So massive exit, right?
You need that.
And right. Let's go. Any takers. But, we were talking about how like, it's important because he grew up how like kind of we did, whereas like, blue collar fam, everyone's grinding, working late, early, this, that. And like, you didn't grow up with a G-Wagon in your driveway. No. Right? Neither did I, right? And so, but like my kids are gonna grow up like, young because I started my business young, right? I've at this point had 2 G-Wagons. I want to get something sick, but Jacqueline doesn't let me do anything and have any fun. Sure. But that's why I love her at the same time.
It's balance.
It's balance. But I think at the end of the day, it's like, our kids as they get older, like they're going to have a different life than we lived as kids. And I think it's so important because that's how the way that you work is the way that me and Jack work. It's the way you and Sal work.
Right, absolutely.
And so they're going to see that it wasn't just like, oh, like cool, mom and dad are just hanging out and we're doing all this cool shit. Right. It's like, no, mom's always got a new idea, or she's grinding this new business, or she's doing this new thing, and dad's doing this. And it's like, I just think it's so important. That's why I'm excited, back to what I was saying, because Val and little Sal are going to see, you doing your thing, obviously Sal doing his thing, but it really, I think, inspires. It's different when you're making big moves and people aren't working as hard, versus how hard you work and how you don't just sit still. Right. And it's going to inspire them.
Yeah.
So it's really cool.
I'm hoping, because you know what? Yeah. A lot of families that were in my town that you see, like, I just don't want my kids to turn out too privileged. Right. Yeah. Right. I want them to know the value of hard work, and I think so many people right now don't realize, like, you don't, like, now it is a different time, and I think it's so important that you need to learn how to pivot, and that's what we did when COVID happened, and we already had this in our heads. Like, thank God I had vasa previa. Thank God I was in the hospital for a month and bored out of my mind and had nothing else to do but plan what else I can do to make money. Right. So, and I think that's super important. I think that everyone needs to take a week every year to think about, do I like what I'm still doing? Yeah. Or am I on a hamster wheel?
Or how can I do it better?
Yeah. Or how can I do it better?
So thank God you had tonsillitis, because if you didn't have that, we wouldn't be here, right?
It would be a different situation. I think that I definitely wouldn't be so far into the online education. Right. I think maybe I would still be taking more clients, but also now a lot of people need to understand, once you do have 2 kids, then you also need potentially 2 babysitters, because sometimes, like, baby Sal has things to do now. He has swim, he has soccer, he has school. Right. We need people to be able to drive him around and drop him off and pick him up. And if we're both working, and then I don't want the baby going all around like that. Yeah, so when people are like, oh my God, my prices are so high for me to come do someone's makeup, it's because I'm paying 2 babysitters from the moment that I have to leave the house to the moment that I get home. And like, when we walk in as parents, you walk in and a lot of times the sitters are leaving and you haven't even peed. You might not have eaten that day yet.
You're just right into mom mode.
Right into mom mode. And it really is, like, I feel like a lot of people, because I don't really share as much of my, I don't share that much on social media. Totally. Right? I'm not like I'll share like what's happening in business and my career.
Like work stuff.
Right. And sometimes I'll show little glimpses, but like, it's every day. It's just like from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed, and then wake up at 4 a.m. or 2 a.m. to feed your baby. Totally. It's just like a constant grind. So to have 100%. That time to reflect, and I think everyone should really have that time to reflect and pivot and really figure out, are you happy in the space that you're in right now? Right. Because if I was still hustling every single day, I wouldn't be happy. I don't have memories from my 20s because I worked so much. Right. Yes, it set me up to be where I am now, to make the investments that I was able to now, but we need to be like, now that's why I'm putting myself first, and I'm making sure that my kids are going to grow up a different way, and that my kids are not going to have to worry, that my kids will have houses when they get older. Because right now, people my age can't even buy a house.
Totally.
Our age.
Right.
We're lucky that we have homes, and where we are.
Well, we ain't
right
lucky.
Now.
We grinding.
Right, we're grinding.
We grinding out there, Mama. We grinding.
Right. We hustled to get to this point.
But to your point, I get it. Yeah, it's tough.
That can't.
Yeah.
That really, they're in their 30s. At this point, our parents' age, they might have been on their second home by now.
Totally.
Now with home prices and inflation and interest rates, it's almost impossible for an average person to be able to own a home. So for us to have multiple homes or, multiple vehicles, or it is a blessing.
It is. It definitely is.
But it's because we figured it out and we hustled our butts off.
Totally. And I think the thing is I got asked, when I got interviewed recently for this one publication for business, they were like, what does success look like to you? And they were expecting me to be like, oh, drive the car I want and do whatever and whatever. Mm-hmm. And the good thing, the blessing of me growing up in a lower class-ish, to middle class home, my dad doing construction, 5 kids, whatever, and seeing hey, this Christmas, John, me being John, we can't get you a lot this Christmas. We have to take care of the kids. And I was like, all right, cool, whatever. And being a part of that stuff. But then also, when I started, I was 17. I've been so. I'm so bad at math, but in a year or so, I will have been doing adapting social and being my own entrepreneur and boss for more of my life than I haven't.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, but you're already there. Totally, right?
Started from the garage.
Right, in my mom's basement.
Yeah.
And I think the thing is though is that because I remember when I was younger, and you could appreciate this being from Patterson, is that I grew up in New Jersey, right? I'm from Newark, initially Ironbound section, being a pork chop, right? Portuguese. And so good, I grew up food, but I grew up loving rap, hip hop, that shit. And I remember thinking at one point when I was first starting adapting social, damn, Diddy's been rich forever. When you think about how long he's been on the scene for, I don't know why I thought about that at the time, but I'm like, he's been wealthy for so long. So long. I just remember when I was younger, he was making moves, and then boom, even to today, even though he's in a bad situation right now, but that's a bad example. Let's cut that. No, I'm just kidding. But people like him, right, have been making moves for a long time. And luckily for me, because I started making a little bit of money when I was younger, and then built a business and started doing pretty well, whatever. For me, success has drastically changed, and it's not just about I want to just make money, whatever. To me, it was I really want to retire my mom.
A farm.
And right in the farm, the compound. But it's I wanted to take care of my mom, and so again, I retired my mom when Johnny was born. I was like, hey, you don't work anywhere else now? I just want you to watch Johnny a couple days a week and just whatever, and I'll take care of her. Yeah. And that was important to me. And so as I've gotten older, money obviously is a huge thing because it's a vehicle. But to me, it's more about, I said this to Jack, and I'm like, to me, success, and I'm gonna ask you this question, so I'm saying this, but to me, success is, I want my daughter to know how a man should treat you based on how I treat my wife. Yep. I want to be the way that dad treats mom, I will never, ever settle for some jamoke who doesn't give a shit about me or taking care of me and the family. And the world's changed. So that doesn't have to be financially. Right. But it's in every aspect of what a gentleman should be. Yep. Right. And then for my boys, it's about them seeing how important it is to have the right partner too, because Jack is such a critical part to my success. Yep. Because ultimately, if it wasn't for Jack, I would be 10x bougier than I am. So crazy. It would be bananas. It would be wild if I didn't have Jack. It would be wild, okay? But now I'm saying all this.
Which is good though.
It is.
Balance is great.
It's so good, But for you though, my question is, so what in the evolution from 8th grade when you started, boom, we're doing stuff, and high school bathrooms and stuff, to today. So what is your newfound version of success being a mom now, and obviously through the journey of you being in 8th grade, hustling, grinding, to being a wife and a mother now?
So I feel like time is everything. Time is the one thing that you'll never get back.
Right.
You can always make back money.
Right.
You can't get time back. So wasted time is my biggest pet peeve. And I think now as a mom is delegating that time
right.
and putting things in our schedule every week, every day to do things with our family and our kids and
right.
our like parents.
Right.
I think that's what wealth is.
Right.
I think that
being able to have your time.
Being able to have your time, still being able to have money coming in, because obviously it plays a big part.
Got to pay the bills.
Yes, you got to pay the bills. But I think, again, wasted time. I can waste money. I don't mind if we waste some money. I don't want to be like, sound
totally
stupid.
Yeah.
Because obviously I don't like wasting money,
no.
but I would rather waste money than
time. Right.
Because it really is, you can't get your health back, you can't get time back. I think now in my 30s, I'm realizing that spending time making sure you're okay,
yeah.
and that your family's good, and that you're like your mental health.
Right.
Because we didn't grow up learning about mental health.
No.
We did not grow up
totally
like,
not
at all.
Yeah.
So mental health now I think is something that's so important, and just realizing that you need the time to like really evaluate yourself, really evaluate your body, your health, right. where you want to be. And then on top of everything else, like having goals in every aspect of your life and setting those goals and making them happen.
Right.
I think just accountability is super important too.
I love that. And it's difficult, a lot of times it's easier said than done, of course, but when life happens, and like you said, what a good example of like, you got home from work and then the babysitter's like, I gotta go.
Yeah.
And like you said, you can't pee, like you don't eat nothing yet, like you can't relax for a second, like right into another mode.
Yep.
It's so challenging, but it's like, you just gotta push through it.
Yep.
Just gotta do it. So all right, so we're getting to the end here.
Yeah.
What would be one piece of advice Lauren of today would go back and give Lauren when she was first starting that now you didn't know then?
Just don't give up. Be genuine to yourself and don't worry about what other people think. Make sure that you're a good person. Never lose
right.
that. But make sure that you are doing what you genuinely like to do.
Yeah.
Be yourself. And I think that is the biggest thing in this industry. So many people try to be like someone else or replicate someone else. But you're never going to be the best by doing that. You're always going to be second best. So by being the best version of yourself and attracting your ideal clientele, that is what's going to bring you wealth and success and happiness.
Right.
So that's what and don't say no.
Yeah.
Never say no. I still don't say no. If there's an opportunity that I can work out into my schedule,
right.
and it's not paid, I'm not above it.
Right.
But everything comes with a price, right? The things that I did for free are the things that made me the most money in the long run.
Totally.
And that's what you have to realize. Some things all right, maybe I won't do that again. But learning from those things. That's why I have an education business. That's why I have a whole online business.
Yeah.
That's why I have a bridal team. That's why I work on celebrities.
Right.
That's why I work with Bravo and MTV and these major companies.
Yeah.
Because I've never said no, and these opportunities have came because of some things that I did for free.
Yeah.
And I feel like there are certain people out there that discourage people from collaborating or doing things for free, but that's the worst advice I think that can happen. And I think also showing negativity in this industry is also something that's a downfall. Don't burn bridges.
Of course.
Maintain the peace and learn from every single person that you come by, whether they've been in the industry for 2 days or 10 years.
Yeah.
Those things are going to really evolve you as a person.
Because this was a fire. It's fucking fire. All Lauren does is spit fire.
Stop.
It's fire. When she has Dunkin' Donuts, she's fire. Anyway, that was so awesome.
Are we sponsored?
You know what? We're not, but Dunkin' Donuts, come on.
Dunkin'.
Hit us up. Little cafe leche here. But, so, little cafe leche. But, sorry. So, now, this is my last question. So, but it's a multi-pronger. So, maybe it's like 3 more.
Oh.
Okay?
We're not leaving.
We're not leaving here.
Everyone call the babysitter.
Everyone's like, fuck.
Call the babysitters, let.
Yeah. We're Gucci. So, how do you want your children to remember you when they're in a room and they're older, and you're not around, Yep. And somebody goes, what was your mom like? How do you want Val?
Good question.
And how do you want Sal to remember you by?
I think I just want them to remember the love. The love, the kindness.
Yeah.
Honestly, again, I think it is important to teach your children about money and about success and all of that. But I'd rather than them remembering me as a successful person or someone that made a lot of money, I want them to remember the love and the fun and the good times.
Yeah.
And just like the time together.
But let me rephrase that. So how would they, like, what would they say? My mom was X. She was this. Geez. She was that. Like, give me that example.
Superwoman.
Supermom.
I guess I would want them just to say, like, I was a good person.
Right.
Like, I want them to want to be like me, just like I want to be like my parents.
Totally.
I want to be like
your
my
parents
mom
are
and
such
dad.
sweethearts. I love them.
They're so nice.
They're great people.
They're really
great
just
people.
hardworking and selfless and caring and, just love each other so much and love us as kids so much and gave whatever they could to us, not that we were, again, we didn't grow up on the higher
no silver spoons and golden spoons,
but not bad.
No, they loved you.
But, exactly.
They gave you what you needed.
So, but I think also if I was treated a different way growing up and I had mommy and daddy's credit card and then maybe I wouldn't have worked as hard. Yeah. So I think I really look up to my parents so much in so many different ways, and especially just the love that they have for each other. Still, like how they talk to each other and like the shots that they take at each other a little bit in like the best, most fun loving way. And, and how much they love us. And even my husband and my kids, like the way that they love all of us and just care for us. That's what I want my kids to also feel.
Love that. I love that. And you know what? I think the one thing too, just being like a really good friend of your guys, is like, and I said this obviously at your party, even though I was feeling ridiculously fantastic
that night. I don't remember it.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, was I there? But you and Sal have such a great way of making everybody around you family, right? And I think that's such a beautiful thing for your kids to learn.
That was a great speech. I wish we had that recorded.
Yeah.
I do remember that was at the beginning.
But you always have. You've always like from the moment that I went to like your guys' first home in Spring Lake. I remember Jack being like, "Oh, I'm worried. Like Lauren's like a supermodel. She always has her makeup done and stuff." And she's like, she's gonna judge my makeup, and I feel like it's gonna be weird. And then we got there, and like literally, like, because that's the first time I ever hung out with you too. And I was like, "Fucking heck," because I knew Sal obviously.
Right.
But I'm like, Lauren is I like Lauren better than Sal. I'm like, Lauren's my boy now. Yeah, Lauren's my boy actually, right? Because she used to be a tomboy. But it's like at the end of the day, it's like that's such. I don't think you could teach something better than that to your kids, because ultimately when you make everybody around you good friends, family, you make, because again, everybody meets people because of you too, right? Like you introduce them to other people, and then they meet friends, and they meet significant others maybe, or business partners or whatever. And you guys are such good, like I'm gonna call it family people, right? Obviously, like, but you guys are through it. You're showing you're gonna show your kids how to be great connectors, right?
And you're the same way though.
Yeah,
you guys
of course,
do the exact same thing, you and Jackie. And I feel like that's why I feel like couple friends, especially as you get older, like it's hard to start making friends with people. But like it was so easy because you guys are like the same way.
Totally.
You want everyone to do well around you. You want to bring people up together. You want to make connections. You want people to be happy and successful and like just family.
Totally.
Which I think is the best thing. And it's very hard to find people that also, you'll find people that'll say they want to do those things, but they're really in it either for clout or just to say that they're friends with you or to use your connections. And I think finding people who genuinely also want to help connect people, it's not always.
It's not easy. Well, because they're always, and that's I think what's so great about you guys is that you both have never been the people, like when I've seen you guys connect people in person, or you guys connected me to people, you guys have never ever been that type of person where you're looking for something in return. And I think that's so genuine about the both of you, right? Like you guys are just like, you care about other people, you want to see them do well, and blah, blah, blah. And I think that's the biggest thing.
Johnny's always like, let me give you a commission for what.
I always do. I'm like, Lauren,
Johnny,
let me
off,
give
Johnny.
you this. She's like, just buy me tequila shots at my next birthday party. But it's like, you know what? Yeah, it's like at the end of the day, it's big. But I'm so grateful for your time here today. I know obviously we went way over.
Sorry, guys.
But no, we're good. But, I do want to make sure, again, time is one asset that we don't get back. So you being here with us today and talking to our audience means the world to me. But for people who are watching, they're like, oh, I want to join a class, or I want to learn more about what you do. How can they find you? Just where you plug yourself.
So theartoфenhancement.com is our education platform. I am Lauren_D'Amelio on Instagram, D'Amelio Cosmetics on TikTok. I don't use it that much. Maybe soon I will. But what else? I have a whole online community of artists. We have over 300 artists in there currently monthly from around the world who all connect, and we've made so many connections in there. They have teams together. They met friends together. Just lifelong bonds that are happening, which is amazing to me. We have Carly Bybel as my model this month, which I'm super excited. She is like the OG beauty influencer. So I'm super excited about that. Next month, we're going to have Angel, who is Mac Daddy, who's another major person. So every month we have these major people, guest educators, so you're basically getting 3 classes a month.
Right.
You're getting Q&As, you're getting coaching, just these relationships. So I think that's probably my favorite part of my business is really the online community, the Facebook group, the Inner Circle.
Yeah.
The Art of Enhancement Inner Circle on Facebook. But yeah, I just love that community, and like you said, just bringing people together is a passion of mine, educating people, teaching them how to truly become successful in this industry, because I was brought up saying that you're a makeup artist.
Right.
I still hate that. Do you know what Santa told me this freaking week?
Tell me.
I went to breakfast with Santa. He looks at me and Sal, we have the babies. He goes, oh, so you're like, it was in our community, right?
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, so you're a housewife. What does your husband do?
No!
I was like,
Santa! He's on the naughty list now. Santa! What?
Oh, Santa, I work.
If you're the opposite of that, it's going to Santa.
But I don't even know why. There it goes.
But
it's gone. ADHD. I know.
But
I was like, Santa.
But you know what though? What's so cool about that is that people will make that judgment.
Right.
But how cool is it that little do they know?
Right.
Little
do we sleep.
Little do we sleep, but little do they freaking know. And you know what? Similarly, like when I'll never forget this, when we were moving into our new house, right? The people who were moving us from brick, right, which is now a rental, into our new home, while we were there, didn't say 2 words to me the whole time we were there, right? So they were just moving, doing this stuff. And they were young kids, like they were like in their early 20s. The second we got to the new house, right, these kids are going to think, what do you do? What do you do for a living, right?
Yeah.
And I've had people that, like we had new appliances come in. And the guy legitimately, I couldn't believe this, I couldn't make this up, goes to me, what does your father do?
Daddy.
I'm like, excuse me, I'm a fucking
Daddy
tilf.
pays my bills. No.
I'm like, excuse me, I'm a fucking tilf. But in my neighborhood, I'm one of the youngest, we're one of the youngest people in our neighborhood.
Right.
And so this guy came in thinking like, oh, where's your dad? Like, whatever. I'm like, first off, I'm a little flattered because I'm fucking 32. So thank you. Hopefully I look young.
Yeah.
But I was like, but back to your point, it's like people don't know the grind.
Right.
So they're just judging based off of what they see.
Yep.
Appearance, and it's like, fuck it, I don't give a shit. Like, cool. Like, whatever. I got a good laugh out of it. I was like, oh, he's not home. I didn't even tell him.
He's not home.
That's what I said to him. He goes, oh, what's your dad do? Oh, he's not home. What do you do? Oh, he's in business.
He's a good cook.
He's a great cook.
Dad's a good cook.
Great cook. Big John?
Oh my God.
Big John?
The ribs.
Come on.
I can't.
Listen, you know what? I keep telling him, like, you know what? Because I retire my mom, my next thing is I want to retire my dad. And not that I want to put him into more work, because restaurant game is fucking tough. But like him and my mom's cookings, I don't know. But listen, back to Lauren's as we end here.
This is why it's going so long.
Yeah, because it's us, our ADHD minds. But I don't think I've been trying to push Lauren on creating her own podcast. I think we're going to do it soon. We'll see what happens. We're going to get her, you'll get a ton of sponsors, obviously, in your makeup industry, right? But I think that you're going to see more of Lauren. I'm just going to throw it out there.
Try.
I think we're going to try. We're going to do our best. She lives around the corner, so we'll do our best. But again, Lauren, thank you so much.
Thank you, John.
You're amazing. And anybody watching, again, do not sleep on this savage, okay? She's an absolute beast, And again, I have so much respect for you. You are an absolute fucking grinder. And you inspire, again, from the moment that I saw your hustle and your grind, I was like, okay, damn. But, it's hard to say this, but I'm going to end off with this.
Yeah.
I think and I know this because I've had these conversations with your parents, but it's funny because normally I had this conversation with people that I know but don't know them this well as you. I can't say this definitively, but I know this definitively. But you're a great mom. Right, your parents are proud of you, right? Your husband is proud of you, right? And you inspire him, and you inspire everybody around you. So whatever success means to people watching this or you, and I think success is a continuum, right? Because obviously everything could go away tomorrow.
Right.
But whatever the American dream is, it's still alive in what you're doing. Right? The people around you are inspired by you. They're growing from you.
And I think the people around you are the most important. That's one last
Totally.
thing.
Your circle.
So even my team that I have around me, Nicolette, who's here right now.
Shout out to our girl Nick. What's up?
But I have
Tequila
such an
Nick.
amazing group of, my team is just so amazing around me and uplifting and inspiring. Even you guys who I work with on a weekly basis. I think it's so important to keep those people around you that motivate you and really are genuinely great people. So I appreciate you. Thank you for having me on. Of course,
but you build them all up. And I'm grateful for you. And again, take some time. I'm a big believer in that the best investment on this fucking earth is the investment you make in yourself. So with the art of enhancement, having the experience that Lauren does, if you're in the makeup game, you'd be silly not to want to rub shoulders with her and learn from her because you're getting after it. You're in this world for a long time. And the best investment, again, whether, what's it cost for the art of enhancement?
It's $77. We're doing a special right now, $77 a month, or
Special.
$117. And normally my master classes are upwards of $700.
Right.
So you're getting my master class, no gatekeeping.
Come on.
You're getting master classes from some of the biggest people in the industry.
Yes.
Every month, at least 2 others.
Okay.
And Q&As, which are personal coaching, essentially with me live.
Right.
In there. So, and we go in and we communicate every day, us and the team. So we really do.
It's invaluable.
It's a community.
It's invaluable.
Yeah,
because
really
if you were to sit down with somebody who has a knowledge base that you have, one-on-one, it'd be $10,000-$20,000. Because if you're gonna have a one-on-one session and download what you know with only one person, that's a lot of like benefit, right? And a lot of resource. So the fact that for $77, or even if it was $700, like get in the group because again, also what I love about your community is that like iron sharpens iron. You guys are there communicating, loving each other up, helping each other. So again, if you're in this game, you're watching this, give her a shout, take it out, artoфenhancement.com.
artoфenhancement.com.
Bam, and go check it out.
And so many of us in this industry, especially if we don't have other people who we know in the industry as makeup artists or hairstylists even, you feel alone because a lot of things that you deal with on a daily basis with clients, you just don't have that community. So this really that's the emphasis. It's a community. We're there to help out each other. We're there to talk about problems. We're there to talk about successes. We're there to motivate each other, help each other, inspire each other, love each other, and just help each other grow and become those 6-figure artists and not have to worry about a paycheck and make your own lifestyle, make your own dreams happen and come true. And that's truly what I want for everyone who learns from me. So
I love it. Guys, give her a shout. Go check it out. Look into it. And again, thank you so much.
Thank you, John.
Mom entrepreneur Lauren
at the
Savage.
Birthday party.
Yeah, we'll see you at the next party. Here we go. Good stuff.
Bye, guys.
Bam.